This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening, everyone. We begin tonight with a Valley News Live investigation. We received a tip of homeless people sleeping in the lobbies, stairwells, and hallways of an apartment building. Valley News team's Alex Larson found out it's true.
Advocates say local homeless shelters are all at or near capacity this time of year. So, with temperatures dangerously low outside, where can people without a home go to stay warm? Here's Alex with details.
I think people don't see them as people.
The Lotus Center's outreach program acts as a resource for people experiencing homelessness. So they've been asked to come into apartment buildings in the Fargo-Moorhead area that are having this issue.
It takes time to get to know those people, and a lot of them are guarded. They don't want to share their stories. They've been, disappointed by the system before. I think the best thing I can do is just sit down and listen to their story and see where to start and try to build a relationship with them.
The Lotus Center will work with people to identify what caused them to be homeless, how to get housing, and addiction counseling.
There's such a high need, and there's just not enough providers. And that includes with shelters, that includes with housing.
The majority of them are not homeless by choice. It could be abusive relationships, it can be substance use, it can be mental health, it can be a lot of reasons people are homeless. And it takes time to get to know those people, and a lot of them are guarded.
But finding housing will be hard if someone has had prior evictions or bad credit.
They're so grateful to have a place that they can finally call home. We constantly are working with people trying to figure out who's willing to give them a second chance and how we can reassure the apartment owners that they're going to get rent paid.
Both Chapman and Opitz say this is a bigger issue.
We have this aspiration of being a big metropolitan area. If it's the goal of the Fargo-Moorhead area to be like that, we need to start addressing big metropolitan issues, and the homeless community is going to be one of them. So how do we take care of them?
Alex Larson, Valley News Live.
The Lotus Center says area shelters always make space when it's extra cold outside, even when they're overcrowded.
And they're always looking for donations and volunteers if you're willing to help. Meanwhile, to see how low the temperatures will go tonight and when there may be a warm-up on the way, here's First Alert Team Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Hutch.
All right, Justin, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. As we head into the late night hours on this Thursday, we reflect on how low we went this morning. Now, it didn't even get as cold as expected in Fargo, 27 below, though that was no picnic. The real cold stuff approaching the 40 belows was in central Minnesota from Park Rapids and the Detroit Lakes area right up through Roseau and Badette. And the wind chills this morning were just downright nasty. 56 below, that nasty wind chill in Can-Do. And then just a little later, approaching that 8 o'clock hour, 51 below in Grand Forks. Temperatures now warming, and we are at 2 below in Fargo, 4 below in Thief River Falls, Bemidji, 6 below. How about this? Holding steady near 20 degrees for Mobridge to Bismarck. We do have a wind chill advisory tonight because we have winds out of the south and just takes your breath away. And we have snow in the forecast. This is a snapshot of what it could look like in the afternoon hours on Saturday. Not a lot of snow, but this snow will come with some wind. So there could be some challenging travel for some areas of northern Minnesota. I'll have hour-by-hour details on that nonsense. It does warm us up, though. Comes with a hitch in the giddy-up. Temperatures pretty steady overnight, falling into the morning hours. We could have a flurry overnight. We'll detail that as well coming up here in just a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch. And it's a good idea to keep that VNL weather app handy for forecast right at your fingertips. You can download and use it for free. Just search VNL Weather in the App Store today.
Now to an update on a story we've been following since yesterday. Some people in rural Hallstatt, Minnesota are looking for answers tonight, wondering why the man police say was at the center of a brutal assault yesterday evening wasn't already behind bars. 32-year-old Jeremy Kosti is now behind bars after police say he broke into a woman's apartment and assaulted her, minutes later assaulting another man. The female victim was flown to a Fargo hospital but is expected to survive. Court records show since just 2015, Kosti has been convicted 3 other times of various assaults, including one time smashing a pistol into a man's head and firing a gun at him. Documents say Kosti was on probation at the time of last night's alleged assault and had a warrant out for his arrest. He is expected to be seen in front of a judge with formal charges filed tomorrow.
One man has serious injuries after a rollover left him in a freezing ditch for 3 hours. It happened around 2 this morning near Sheldon, North Dakota. Highway Patrol says Jesse James Schultz drifted off the road and into a ditch, overcorrected, then rolled the vehicle multiple times. Officials say he was not wearing a seatbelt and was thrown from the vehicle. The crash report says he was lying in that ditch for about 3 hours until a passerby found the vehicle. He's now recovering. Not just sugar beets, but frozen sugar beets. Closed Highway 12 in Swift County, Minnesota tonight. The sheriff's office reports a truck spilled thousands of them onto the road, causing damage to several cars, much like rocks. The sheriff's office kept a sense of humor when posting that the highway has reopened, adding, "Please like and follow our page for more riveting updates like this one."
Oof. A Belcourt, North Dakota man will spend the next several years in federal prison after a 2020 carjacking in downtown Fargo. Police say John Poitra approached a Chevy Silverado pickup, demanded the keys, threatened to stab the driver, then stole the pickup and hit several cars while running away from police. Today he was sentenced to 7 years in prison, 3 years of supervised release. He also has to pay restitution both to the victims and the fees for damaging the police vehicle.
Today, funeral services were held for North Dakota Attorney General Wayne Stenchum. He served North Dakota for almost his entire adult life. Today, his friends and family remembered his laugh, his friendship, and his legacy.
Everyone in this room knows, by the way he lived his life, that Andrew and Beth were his #1 priorities. But what made Wayne so unique is that he made all the rest of us feel like we were a close #2.
His sister said it's easy to think Stenchum's passion was politics, but she believes that was just a way for him to make things better for the people of North Dakota. Today, people in Richfield, Minnesota held a vigil to remember the 15-year-old who was killed in a shooting earlier this week. Jamari Rice died Tuesday outside the South Education Center where he was a student. Another student, a 17-year-old, was critically injured. During the vigil, and just feet from where Jamari was killed, his mother sat in a car crying.
Jamari was the life of the party. Everywhere he went, he shined. He made everything okay. And they took my star.
Richfield police say the shooting was not random, and they have an 18 and 19-year-old in custody. Charges are expected to be filed tomorrow.
Crime and gun violence is
Today, President Biden promised police officers on the front lines of the violence that they would get help.
The answer is not to defund the police. It's to give you the tools, the training, the funding, to be partners, to be protectors.
Mr. Biden visited the city within days of 2 funerals for NYPD officers who were shot and killed by a man armed with a gun equipped with a high-capacity magazine capable of holding 40 rounds. Just a month into the new year, 6 NYPD officers have been shot. New York's mayor, who sat next to the president, called for action to stop the violence.
We're here in solidarity to deal with the issue of violence that has become pervasive in not only New York City, but in the cities across America.
Cities are struggling to get a handle on crime. In 2021, there was a nearly 12% increase in gun violence murders compared to the year before. Law enforcement officials acknowledge that in some cases they are outgunned by suspects armed with manufactured weapons or so-called ghost guns converted into illegal machine guns.
We haven't seen so many machine guns used in crimes since Prohibition.
Is that right?
That is right. Your average law enforcement officer is not armed with a machine gun. Increasingly, criminals are.
That's Jeff Pegues reporting. Today, the Justice Department announced a new initiative that would toughen penalties for those who commit crimes using these ghost guns.
Later, here on Valley News Live at 10, changes coming to North Dakota roads. Officials say are designed to keep you in your own lane.
What a winter it's been. Very cold, and the cold continues. Wind chill advisory tonight. We have more chilly weather overnight with that wind chill. Some flurries overnight tonight. We'll talk about that, and more snow that comes with wind for your weekend. Details are straight ahead.